Hello, Rebecca McLaughlin here. In my last video, I talked about something called creative control. I told a quick story about that one time that 5 people outvoted me on my very own book. So maybe you're thinking, you got outvoted? How does that even happen? Isn't it your book still? So the question is, do I have control over my own book? Well, yes and no. Mostly yes, but also no. Let's dissect this. Step 1. What is creative control? Creative control, you know, like my air quotes, my bunnies. I'm surrounded by rabbits. That's an air quote joke. It's not funny. Creative control is often used in the context of movies. If a writer or director has complete creative control, they then have the final say what goes into the final version, or the final cut, as it were, for movies. And let's establish something off the bat. It is very uncommon for someone to maintain creative control, complete creative control, over a project. And this is for a couple good reasons. Reason 1, creative control is something specified in a legal contract. Most contracts basically say that whoever has purchased the rights has creative control. So if a production company options the film rights for a book, they are the ones responsible for creating the final product and then selling it. It's in their interest to have that control because they want to make a good product and they want it to sell well. And, you know, in their heads, they're thinking, I don't want an author or a writer or one person who has all the creative control to make bad decisions that will affect the marketability or sales of an item. Similarly, if a publisher wants to publish your book, they're the ones taking on the bulk of the monetary responsibility. So they'd like to have that final say on what it looks like. This applies particularly to things that are directly involved with marketing, like the cover design or what goes on the back cover. The second reason it's kind of bad for a single person to have total creative control over something is more of a common sense piece. From dictatorships to cults, whenever there's only a single voice being heard, there's less room for insight and improvement overall. You want a variety of voices and perspectives and opinions feeding into a single creative project, especially if you want that creative product in the hands of a lot of people. Alright, so maybe now we understand a little bit about what creative control is. On to the examples. A typical example of creative control is what happened during my own revisions process. Not to brag or anything. What's the opposite of bragging? I kept trying to incorporate an element into my story. I really liked that element. And to her credit, my editor did let me try to keep it a couple times. It didn't work. I was convinced to get rid of it. It was tough, but it was the right choice. It can be difficult to give away control of your art, but no one improves their craft by working in a vacuum. Unless you're stuck inside a vacuum cleaner with a box of mac and cheese. Get it? Kraft mac and cheese. I do tell jokes. Bad jokes, really bad jokes. Ultimately, you have to trust in the experience, the industry expertise, and the skill, and the outside perspective of those that you've chosen to work with. You're trusting them with your career, so trust them with your art. Another example is the cover of the book. Now, if you try to think of your book as only yours, you'll quickly run into a wall, and not just contractually. You work with so many people to get your book out into the world. So many people are involved from taking it from its first draft to its final shelf. A brief list, and I wrote it down. You, the author, of course, and alpha readers, beta readers, critique partners, contract lawyers, literary agents, other agency professionals, editors, copy editors, proofreaders, cover designers, marketing director, typesetter, art designer, foreign rights agent, just about 1 million other people. There are so many people involved in this process, from taking an idea into a holy crap, this is a book in my real physical hands. Don't break your stuff, Becky, come on. You're better than this. Well, you're not, but try. With all of these people involved, maybe it gets a little easier to view your book as not just yours, but as the product of a huge collective. And as I said before, you know, with something like the cover, that has much more to do with marketing than it does with the story itself. Oh, is that controversial? Maybe. All of that said, here's a question I get a lot. You've made so many changes. Is this still the book you started with? No. No, it's not, and that's okay. It shouldn't be. Oh my god, if I had to publish the first draft? No, it's on fire somewhere in a ditch, burning eternally, as all first drafts should be. Here's the thing, it's gone through so many iterations since the first draft, and it's gone through significant iterations since I signed the book deal. 2 years into the contract, I rewrote 80% of the book. That's a lot of the book, I know, it's so much, it's most of it actually. Yes. Why did they buy your book if they wanted to change it so much? Is it even the same book? Is it still your book? Let me answer all those questions. They bought the book. 1, the light is off. Oh no, that's a problem. They bought the book because they want to make money just like I want to make money, and they want to bring the book to readers just like I want to bring it to readers, except the publisher will sell it to you in a store like a normal person. I would just sneak in through an open window into your house in the middle of the night and slide it under your pillow and take your money. And I've been told that this is illegal. Let's all do our shopping at stores, shall we? It's not the same book, but it's also not the same book it was when it was the first draft, which is great because the first draft was terrible. And as for, is the book still mine or not? Of course it's mine! But what kind of artist would I be if I refused to grow and change and learn? I'd be like a brick, because bricks, as we all know, refuse to do those things. I hope that provides a better sense about what creative control is. Giving up control is never easy, but it's important. All right, thanks for tuning in, guys. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me and let me know. Always willing to learn, always willing to teach, you know, unlike a brick. That's me, Rebecca McLaughlin, not a brick.